people opportunities, but also the tenant engagement. Any other comments, questions? Right, we'll move this forward for information. The next item is the tenant benefits of replacement of diesel generators, suite metering, and monetizing rooftops. That's a mouthful. Sheila.
This is a follow-up to a report that was presented at BIFAC. We were asked to come back and speak very briefly on the benefits of the diesel replacement of diesel generators, suite metering, and monetizing. So it's very brief. When we replace diesel generators, we are looking to a program to replace them with a technology that will provide for sustainable occupancy, which is a benefit to tenants. If we are able to deliver on sustainable occupancy across the portfolio, it means that in the event of another ice storm that we would have hubs across the portfolio that could provide respite for tenants. So it's a long-term strategy. We're actively working on it, and we have a number of initiatives underway. Suite metering provides an opportunity for us to provide information for tenants around their utility usage and to become actively involved in trying to bring those costs down, provide for a better understanding of utilities in the portfolio and engage tenants. The third item, we do have solar panels on a number of our rooftops, 37 systems in play. It provides $650,000 annually to the company to support the ongoing work that we do on behalf of tenants. So at a high level, those are the benefits of the three programs.
Great, thank you. I think it was helpful to actually have that document for people. Sometimes it is hard to know why we're spending on certain items, and I found it actually a good description and probably helpful for people to see when they see these big ticket items going forward. Any other questions? Yeah, Catherine?
Yes, I was there when this came forward at the BIFAC committee, and I very much appreciate it's come through to this committee, and furthermore that it's come through in a public way. It was not public and transparent there, and it is now. And I think it's really important for tenants to know not just so much what we're doing with money, but what the impact or changes in your life or services or your cost of living. Those have to be these public, transparent conversations. So in terms of the diesel generators, so what we're saying is there's 175 diesel generators in specific communities. There's no intent to provide additional generators in any other communities if you don't have one already, but just that what we're replacing the existing ones with. Is that correct?
So under regulations, there are some buildings that have to have backup power, some building types that are required to have backup power, and in our portfolio, it's 175 high-rise buildings. I don't know if that answers.
Okay, yeah, so sure, Sheila. So you're saying we only have them because they're obligated to have them, and we don't anticipate going beyond the existing number of diesel generators we have because we're not required to have them elsewhere, right?
I wouldn't say it's not because we're not required to have them. They're in a single-family home, you would never have a diesel generator. We have almost 1,000 single-family homes.
Right.
In a townhouse, a set of towns, a block of towns, you would never have a diesel generator. It's
Okay,
just
so-
not technology.
So specifically
that's
apartment
applicable.
buildings, I totally respect and I get that.
Yeah.
Apartment buildings, so
Right.
it's only based on whatever the criteria is. These ones meet the criteria, they're good. Okay, so I get it, and thanks for that. Because for tenants to hear about a diesel generator, imagine you're sitting here today and you're one of those buildings that doesn't have one. Suddenly it begs the question, well, what do you have to do to qualify to get a generator in the event of a power outage? So we don't know what that is, but we know that there's 175 buildings who meet whatever that criteria is, and it doesn't look like we'll be getting any additional generators elsewhere.
So other building types would have other forms of emergency power beyond a diesel generator.
Yes, thank you for that. We have battery pack lights that go out in 2 hours. Gotcha. And I think that's the case.
What's your recommendation, Catherine?
A lot of people. Well, what I'm saying is from a tenant's perspective, they're hearing that 175 buildings are getting diesel power generators. They never knew how many there were before, but they now know. We also know there doesn't look like any additional buildings. Think of the ice stores.
Yeah, no, I'm just wanting your recommendation as a board.
Yeah,
because
is
you've
there
actually
any
given us
intent, okay, let me wrap this up for you. Is there any intent to provide diesel generators in any of our other communities at some point down the road?
It's not in our current plan, you're correct.
All right, thank you. So that I'm there.
If I could just comment that one of the things that we're looking at is to make sure that we're prioritizing the use of the money that we have available based on greatest need. And one of the things that we're doing here, which I just want to emphasize, is we're actually looking at enhancing services. So the buildings that already have diesel generators, the benefit here is that instead of only having the power on in stairwells and emergency lighting, we're actually providing a service for our tenants so that they can stay within their units. And I just don't want to lose sight of the fact that we're trying to look at how we can enhance services to our tenants, in particular when you consider seniors or vulnerable tenants. I think it's really important that they are able to stay in their units during the power outages.
Absolutely. And then I'm not finished with this report. And the reason I'm not finished with this report, because the next item in here, as I indicated earlier to Jill, this is absolutely critical to have a public conversation with our tenants. The discussion around, you can call them sweet metering, smart meters, whatever you want to call them, there's a significant impact coming to our tenants. And I'm looking at your report here, is this something that's going to be done portfolio-wide?
So right now,
So sorry, Sheila, because I know we're taking up a lot of people's time.
Ask the question.
Yeah. Is this going to be done portfolio-wide?
I believe that we would serve our tenants best if we could do this portfolio-wide to actively provide information for tenants on utility consumption. Because there are so many things that tenants can do, can participate in, that will improve the utility consumption, that will help defer operating costs, that will improve their comfort if they're given the tools and the information. So again, we have to deploy our resources to the highest priority first. We are starting to do some sweet metering in the 9 Sharp buildings that we have underway, the larger energy retrofits, but it is a program that we would like to see ultimately over time rolled out across the portfolio.
Okay, thank you for that. So the intent long-term is to pass on the electricity cost to our tenants, is that correct?
That is not correct.
Okay, so the intent of smart meters, because and the reason, where I'm getting this from is there's a tenant issues committee at City Hall. And the meeting was held a couple of weeks ago, and it says that these smart meters, sweet meters, which are called the same thing, make it possible for landlords to remove electricity as a service included in a tenant's rent and transfer responsibility for the cost of electricity usage from the landlord to the tenant. So that is not our intent.
This is an approach in the private sector to defer costs, Catherine. This would not be something we would consider on our portfolio.
Okay, so this is only going to occur, what we want to do it portfolio-wide. So there's
This is strictly focused on implementing so that we can encourage conservation, and the indications we have is that this is something that would be paid back to us through realizing conservation efforts on the portfolio.
Right, so the thing is, we at any time could have educated our tenants around conservation, but now that the cost of things are going up, we're going to do it now, and we now have these tools to assist us with that. Now, from a tenant's perspective, the perception will be that their landlord is spying on them. Now we know how much hydro you're using. The other 1 bedrooms in your building aren't using that many kilowatts, so why are you? So there's that perception. It's really important that this be, I'm wrapping it up, Linda, just give me that chair look. Come on, Kevin, wrap it up. This is really important that tenants, and we need to be transparent, and I'm glad we are, but we need to tell tenants, what is this, what's coming, when is it coming, how will it impact them, what's expected. We need to make sure there's a very clear communications plan. And the question I want to ask you, has City Hall agreed to Toronto Community Housing doing this, because when I look at the Tenants Issues Committee at City Hall, it seems to me there's several recommendations to go back to the province and make recommendations to changes to the legislation. So has the city endorsed
I think
what we're doing?
Kathy wants to comment?
Okay.
I'll take the first part, and then I'll turn it over to Sheila with respect to the second. But this is one of those things where we globally are seeing the effects of global warming. And I think everybody is becoming much more aware and conscious of the harm that we're causing to the environment. So this is really an important step that we're taking for our own benefit in terms of being able to encourage our tenants with respect to conservation. But there's, again, as Wayne said, there's absolutely no desire or thought about passing on the cost of the tenants, but rather helping our tenants to be more environmentally conscious as well, because I believe that they do want to be. And we will be very careful about the communications piece as we roll it out to make sure that there's no misunderstanding with respect to what the intention is.
Okay, so again, this is altering, I guess perhaps not a service in that the landlord's already paying for that service, they're just having a new tool. But it will be an impact to tenants, and I do think there needs to be reasonable tenant consultation on this process, most specifically with the communications work group, of course, because the language and the way we communicate this out to tenants, we have to be able to say, no, that's not what we're doing. No, you don't have to be afraid. This is what's going to happen. No, your rent's not going up. We have to answer all of
I
that.
see a commitment.
We have the chair of our working group right here, and there's a commitment that we will take it to the community.
Yes.
And I do want to ask a question, maybe we haven't thought it through this far because we're not there yet in the planning process. But so it's educating tenants about reducing their consumption. So if a tenant does not reduce their consumption, there will be consequences for that. Will that be up to and including eviction if they fail to reduce their consumption? Okay, so I want to be clear that that's also not something that's going to happen to our tenants.
Right.
And so you only answered me the